Good morning. I have my cup of coffee, my little journals or sketchbooks, my vintage books that I like to use sometimes in my art practice when I feel like I'm really just wanting a tactile experience of making some art and playing around with having this really gentle, fun, easy practice. I'm showing you this because I've shown this sketchbook specifically a little bit on social and through the Artist Lounge. And I wanted to give you some tips for how to select books like this to turn into a bit of a sketchbook, art journal, junk journal, whatever you want to call it, because paper matters. And I'm going to show you the difference a little bit. But I thought I'd record a video instead of creating a post. So that you can see in real time how I use them. I'll add a bit of watercolor to one of the pages so you can see what happens as I start to add watercolor. And again, maybe it'll inspire you to start a morning practice with your morning cup of coffee, really just ground into the moment and being mindful of just the tactile experience that we get to have when we're working in small spaces, in little sketchbooks, and recycling, upcycling, turning something that would have probably been in the landfill and making art from it. How beautiful is that? Okay, so this is a book that I picked up. It is the Grand Trunk Railway. I think it is Grand Trunk. So it is an Ontario, here we go, Grand Trunk Railway System. It's a handbook for train operators from probably, I want to say like 1920s maybe. Let's see if there's a date in here. And I bought this in 2025, so it was summer. I was out antiquing. Here we go, 1911. And I just loved how it felt in my hands. I thought the size is perfect. I can take it to go with me, travel with it. But what really caught my eye was how the paper had a little bit of a gloss to it, a sheen perhaps to it. And I thought this is going to accept a bit of wet medium really nicely. It's not going to be super absorbent, and I'm going to try painting in it. I actually painted this earlier. It's still a little bit wet, but I know that it can handle a little bit of watercolor. And then I tested it out. Lo and behold, it is amazing for watercolor. Really, it comes down to a little bit of like a sheen on your paper so that it can accept watercolor ever so slightly. You can't use a ton of water, but it's not going to absorb it like the next book I'm going to show you. So this was one that I picked up, I think in Iceland, or maybe Denmark, I'm not sure. But any time I travel and I see a bookstore or even a used bookstore, I hit the section that has the most used, old, unloved but well loved, if that makes sense, books that I think are going to just end up in the landfill because they're worth pennies. I don't even know how much I paid for this one, but I think it was a couple of dollars. And I thought, again, if I don't tear out the pages like I do sometimes with old books, I'll tear out the pages and I'll use this in collage work. Then what I'll do is I'll keep it intact and I will work within it. Now, this paper is very porous. So you can even see it looks very porous, a little bit textured. I played around with, this one turned out not bad. I played around with some watercolor just to test it out. And instantly I knew that it wasn't going to accept it well. So I even tested out doing a tiny bit of collage, working with some different mediums, not just watercolor. But I think what I'll do for the remainder of this book is sketch in it using charcoal, because it is that really nice textured porous paper, and I think charcoal would create a really great experience on it. So as you're finding these books and exploring, I kind of set the intention, if I'm out antiquing, vintage shopping, thrifting, if I need a little new book as inspiration, then those are the things that I look for. So the size, how it feels in my hand, and then also the quality of the paper, and then that way I can add new life to it. Someone asked a question about books that have images of florals on them. So I buy books like this. So this one I think I got in England. Yes, I got this in England my last trip. No, my second last trip, I think. And it was at an antique store. I paid a little bit more than I would have liked for it. I'm trying to see if there's a price on here. But I bought it because I love vintage illustrated florals. And I often will open up a page and I will take aspects of the floral and recreate it. So in this case, I don't touch this book. This book is for reference. I read it. I enjoy it. I think about, the moment when someone was in the field and paying attention to what was growing in their area, and then illustrating, noting the color, noting the species. It just, again, takes me back to a very slow, a simpler time of when we observed, took note, enjoyed our landscape and what was around us. And it inspires me. It inspires me to sit down and to work on some florals. And I love that ink and wash, which we're going to do in March in the lounge. So if you're a member, get ready for that. So those are some tips for finding books if you want to turn them into sketchbooks, really introduce something inspiring and fun into your personal art practice. I do everything from testing out landscapes. I just painted that one recently. If we're working on different themes in the lounge, I do some charcoal sketching. I do everything. Again, it's a place where I can explore anything that is sort of in the moment for me. We worked on abstracted pieces, lots of landscape. They're just some simple sketching. And some turn out and some don't. And the thing that I really love about working in these sketchbooks or in these books are that the background isn't plain white. You get the interesting backgrounds to create, again, just, I don't know, another layer of interest in your art making. This is some abstract practice that I did for when we did abstracts in the lounge. And if you're finding that the background is distracting, I know someone asked about that, you will notice that some pages have this white background. You can use gesso, so straight up gesso, if you are familiar with acrylic paints. You can use gesso on these pages really, really lightly, or I use a watercolor ground. I'm just going to see if I can find, which I believe this is the watercolor ground. So I coat the page, and I do have one where you can see it a little bit more. It creates a little bit of texture. It actually will tone down all of the print so that you can focus on painting over top of it without the distraction of the text. I know someone asked about that, and I totally get it. And then again, use different mediums. So I used watercolor and some marker here, Neocolor. And then I'll write little notes for where I painted them, and then I'll start to add dates here and there just so I can keep track. That's full. Oh, this is gouache, so you can add gouache to it. I'm glad I made a note, actually. Yeah, like write yourself notes, journal within it as well, and just have it be somewhere where you can make some art, have some fun, and explore. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it's like to add some watercolor. Let's do that really quickly. Okay, let's do a quick landscape. These are my Deep Deep Lights watercolor pans that I've started playing around with because I'm traveling so much more. I'm really wanting something that travels with me and that I can create art as I go. One thing I also like to do is have some white gouache, and if white gouache is something that maybe will help you with creating a little bit of a more calming background, so it's not just distracting, go ahead and get some white gouache because it's a bit more opaque than watercolor. So what I like to do essentially is just start. I'll load up my brush. Sometimes I'll go to the palette, sometimes I'll go right to the page, and this is just going to be abstract. I just want to connect with my art. It's morning. It's not my first cup of coffee, but I'm kind of still in the early part of the day, and I just want to connect with my tools and have a little fun in my sketchbook and see what happens. So you can see that the watercolor paint isn't being absorbed by the paper. That's because it does have that sheen to it, which is really nice because I'm just gonna get some of this Paris blue, because I'm going to just work really quickly getting that paint around, letting it puddle. Let's add a little bit more of this blue. I actually lost my train of thought. Here we go. Yeah, so it doesn't get absorbed. It'll sit on top of the paper, which is really nice because then I have an opportunity to move some of that paint around. So I'm thinking of clouds and sky. And I can still do my tricks like what I usually do with painting clouds, and that is going ahead and removing. And you can see, again, the paint's gonna travel, and I like that. This should be a place where you can explore and be okay as you work through your process and looking at how the paint is reacting on your page. I want you to have a place where you can just have fun, really. Just let it be a place where there's ease in your practice and you can explore. That looks pretty good to me. And have some fun. Let's do prickly pear because it's a really interesting color. And if you want to explore more of these deep light watercolors, I do have a discount code that you can use for your purchase. I've been working with the lovely ladies over at Deep Light, and they are just so inspiring. They hand make all of these watercolors. They're lovely humans, so we have such great conversations when we chat, and I have been able to find some new favorites that will always have a place in my watercolor palette. So now I'm just figuring out the foreground. Let's go a little bit darker with this prickly pear. There we go. And just using a round brush. That feels really good. And again, if that kind of feels a bit stagnant, I can still take my, look at the beautiful light we have in the studio today. Take my paper towel and break it up a little bit. And that prickly pear, oh my gosh, it is a granulating color, and it has so much depth to it as it starts to dry. And that feels really good. And again, I did this quickly just so you can see, but I want you to see how the paint reacts. If I grab this sketchbook, let's do it really quick because I still have some coffee left. If I could drink coffee all day and paint, how heavenly would that be? Okay, so this is the more porous paper. Let me do the same thing so that you can see. This is haze blue, yummy blue color. Look at how smoky that is. So you can see that the paint is being absorbed quite quickly on the page. I'll even add a bit more water to my brush. So it is porous. It's going to absorb. Let's add some white gouache and see what happens. So the white gouache is a little bit more opaque. It will probably sit on top of the page a bit more. But let's go in with that Paris blue. Oh my gosh, the light in here today is just beautiful. I'll mix them around. And I'm just going in with the Paris blue so that you can see it more clearly on camera. And then get the effect of it. So I can see that I have less time. There's a lot more sheen on this page because of the gloss on the paper, so it's not absorbing the watercolor as much. But this one, it's drying down quite a lot, and you can even see it, the paper is starting to lift and warp. So it's just an indicator to me that I will use this for dry mediums, and which is fine because I do like to work in pastel and charcoal and all of those beautiful mediums too. So let's just finish it up so I've got something on the page. I can even collage over this. Really, again, it's so inexpensive to revive a book that maybe would have hit the landfill if it doesn't sell. And I even keep them as stacks just for decor around my house. Some of them, like I said, I read and I will take from. Some of them just has, you know, an aesthetic addition to our space. But yeah, this page is quite saturated and is pulling up all of the watercolor. Okay, so we've explored a little bit of this in the lounge. We will explore a little bit more throughout the year, but because you've asked and there's been a little bit of interest with this little book of mine and how I'm filling it, I thought I'd do a little demo so I can inspire you to maybe invite something fun, unique, and inspiring into your daily art practice, maybe with your first cup of coffee in the morning, and really connecting to whatever art supplies you use. Look at that prickly pear, how it started to granulate as it's drying. Such beautiful color. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Next month in the lounge, we are doing pen and ink. It is going to be so much fun. Of course, we'll be doing wash and watercolor. Did I say pen and ink? Yeah, so pen and wash, ink and wash. It is going to be a lot of fun. So let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any more questions. Let me know if you try it. Share with me. I'd love to see. And I hope you enjoyed.